Speak to sell. Your story isn't just powerful, it's profitable. You don't need to be the loudest voice in the room, you just need to be the most authentic. Lisa Nichols is living proof. She didn't start with fame, funds, or fans. She started with a decision to no longer let her past define her future. From public assistance to best-selling author and multi-million-dollar speaker, Lisa built her empire by turning her pain into purpose and her voice into value. Speak to Sell is more than a strategy guide. It's a soul awakening for anyone who feels called to speak, share, and sell from a place of truth. Lisa doesn't teach performance. She teaches presence. She reminds us that the greatest stages are not defined by spotlights, but by connection. And when you learn to speak with intention, alignment, and service, you don't just inspire, you invite transformation. Let's speak with soul and sell with service. Chapter 1. Speak from the scar, not the wound. Lisa's golden rule of storytelling is simple yet profound. Be real. Be raw, but be healed. Audiences don't need your breakdown. They need your breakthrough. There's power in sharing pain, but even more power in showing the strength it took to rise from it. When you speak from a fresh wound, the story is still charged with emotion. But when you speak from the scar, the story becomes medicine, not just for you, but for others. Lisa calls this storytelling with responsibility. You don't bleed on your audience, you bless them with your wisdom. The story isn't about what happened to you. It's about what you learned from it, and how your listener can apply that lesson in their own life. That's the difference between sympathy and service, between venting and value. This chapter challenges speakers to do the inner work first, to reflect, to heal, to extract the lesson before sharing the experience. Because it's not enough to be seen, you must be able to serve through what you've seen. When you speak from your scars, your story becomes a bridge, leading your audience from where they are to where they want to be. Chapter 2. Create the core message. Every unforgettable talk is built around one powerful idea, the core message. This is your North Star, the idea your audience will carry home, repeat to friends, and anchor into action. Lisa teaches that a core message should be clear, compelling, and concise. Not watered down, not overly clever, just real. Real words, real passion, real relevance. The message must be rooted in your truth, but it must be crafted for their transformation. That's the magic balance. You speak from your soul, but for their shift. Whether you're on stage for 3 minutes or 3 hours, your core message is what creates continuity. It shapes your storytelling. It guides your teaching. It becomes the heartbeat of your call to action. Lisa encourages speakers to test their message in real conversations. Say it aloud. Watch how people respond. Listen for when heads nod, when hearts open, and when the energy shifts. That's when you know you've landed. Your core message is not just what you say, it's what they remember. And what they remember is what moves them to act. So before you build your talk, build your message. One idea, one promise, one transformation. Chapter 3. The Speaker Blueprint. Speaking isn't about winging it. The best talks feel spontaneous, but behind the scenes, they're deeply intentional. Lisa shares a powerful blueprint, a framework that leads your audience on a transformational journey. It starts with a relatable opening. You want to meet your audience where they are, in their reality, with their language, on their level. Then, you share a personal story. Not to spotlight yourself, but to show your humanity. The story is the connector. Next comes the breakthrough moment, the shift. What changed in you? What realization sparked your transformation? This is the turning point where the audience starts to believe that change is possible for them too. From there, you move into your teaching content. This is where you deliver value, tools, and insight. But remember, clarity, not complexity. Your job is to give them breadcrumbs of belief, not overwhelm. Then comes the call to action. Not a hard pitch. A heart-aligned invitation. Invite them to go deeper, to invest in themselves, to say yes to the next step. Each phase of the blueprint is essential. Together, they move the listener from inspiration to invitation. And when done with intention, they create not just applause, but alignment. Chapter 4. Sell without selling. One of Lisa's greatest gifts is her ability to sell without sounding like she's selling. You never feel pressured, but you always feel compelled to act. That's because she's not pushing a product. She's offering a pathway. Mission-driven selling is different. It's rooted in service, in integrity, in alignment. When your offer is the natural extension of your story, your teaching, and your truth, it feels like a gift, not a gimmick. Lisa teaches that you don't need to beg, convince, or manipulate. You need to believe, deeply, in what you offer. That belief creates energetic congruence, and congruence builds trust. When your audience feels that your program, product, or coaching is the answer to the problem you just helped them understand, they don't hesitate. They lean in. Because they don't feel sold, they feel seen. Selling without selling requires clarity, confidence, and compassion. You must be clear about your offer, confident in your value, and compassionate toward your audience's fears, doubts, and desires. When done right, the sale becomes a sacred moment, a decision that aligns with their growth. That's not pressure, that's purpose. Chapter 5. Serve the room, not your ego. True speakers don't perform, they serve. Lisa says, when you stop performing and start serving, your stage becomes a sanctuary. The focus shifts from applause to impact, from ego to empathy, from spotlight to service. The best talks don't aim for standing ovations. They aim for standing transformations. They leave people different than they were when they entered. This chapter is about checking your motives. Are you here to impress or to uplift? Are you here to be seen or to help others see? Lisa invites speakers to ask one question before stepping on stage. How can I be of highest service to this room? That question grounds your energy, sharpens your focus, and elevates your intention. When you speak from a place of love, purpose, and mission, your message lands deeper. Your audience doesn't just hear you, they feel you, and they remember that moment as a turning point in their own journey. Service requires presence, it requires humility, and it requires courage. The courage to stop chasing perfection and start choosing connection. Speak to serve, speak to shift, speak to stir hearts and spark action. The sales will follow, because energy always flows where authenticity lives. Your voice is a vehicle. Speak to Sell is not just a roadmap for speakers. It's a soul mission for messengers. Lisa Nichols reminds us that our voice is not just meant to be heard, it's meant to heal. You don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to show up. With your truth, your story, and your service. Speak your truth. Share your lessons. Invite transformation. Because your talk can change lives, and one of those lives just might be your own. This was Speak to Sell by Lisa Nichols, brought to you by Success Resources Books Insights. You don't need to become more. You need to become present. This is more than mindset. It's a mission. Keep seeking, keep growing, keep giving, and together, let's make the world rich again.